In this video, I'll be showing you how to install VJ Tracks and other necessary software that you may need as well. You'll most likely need all of these installers handy, and the download links are listed with this video. We have installers for Magic, NDI to Siphon, OBS, Stream Deck, and the VJ Tracks zip file. Let's start with setting up the VJ Tracks folder. The folder structure is important as Magic will need to know where certain folders exist. Move the VJ Tracks zip file into your Documents folder and expand the file. If you open the VJ Tracks folder, you'll see several text documents with instructions on where to put files in particular places, how to do setup and customization for your project files, as well as notes on the purpose of the folder itself. And this is the VJ Tracks project file that we'll eventually be opening, but let's put that aside for a minute. Now I'm going to install OBS, which this version is just a drag and drop into the Applications folder. Next is NDI to Siphon, and this is also a drag and drop to the Applications folder. Let's install the Stream Deck software if you have a Stream Deck. This is how you'll be controlling MIDI. We also use Touch OSC, but for this tutorial, we're focusing on Stream Deck. After launching Stream Deck, we'll click on this button that says More Actions and search for MIDI button, and then click to install. Now you can see we have MIDI button installed, and you can see all its various actions that come with it. We've already mapped the Stream Deck and Stream Deck XL, and we're going to import those profiles. So if you click the menu under Stream Deck and select Edit Profiles, then under your Preferences, Profiles, click the down arrow to Import. Navigate to your Documents folder, VJ Tracks folder, VJ Tracks Live folder, MIDI Profiles, and select the profile for which Stream Deck you have. Please note we've set up the buttons to run on MIDI channel 13 to avoid any MIDI mappings you may currently be using. After importing the settings, you'll need to select the MIDI system you'll be using in MIDI button, and this is where it can get tricky. Select one of the buttons and scroll past its settings to the setup area. Click the arrow next to Setup to expand. So I've not yet configured MIDI on this computer before, so I'm receiving this error message. But you'll have two options. You can either use the built-in IAC MIDI driver or use the virtual port feature. To set up the IAC driver, go to the Utilities folder on your computer and open Audio MIDI Setup application. From the window menu, select Show MIDI Studio. Double-click the IAC driver and then click the checkbox for The device is online. Now quit Audio MIDI Setup and go back to the Stream Deck. The IAC driver should now show up as an input port. If it doesn't, your second option is to just click the Use Virtual Port checkbox and then give it a name, such as MIDI button. Let's close Stream Deck now and go to the Magic installer. Agree to the terms and conditions and continue the installation process. When you launch the application for the first time, you'll need your license key to activate the software. Now I need to show you a few things to make it easier to work in Magic. First, go to the Scene menu and select Show Hide Folder Panel. You'll see a panel open on the left, and this is where you can organize your scenes into folders, as well as select scenes to edit and preview. Under the Scene menu again, select Show Hide Globals panel. On the right, you'll see a panel open. We'll get into globals later, but all you need to know is this is where you'll find globals in the future. Next, go to the Window menu, Magic Window Options, and select Graphic Resolution. The Magic window is your main output window. This is where you can change the dimensions. Typically, you'll be working in 1280 by 720, but this is where you can change this setting. Under the same window menu, Magic Window Options, you'll want to make sure that the siphon output is selected, as that's how you'll send your output to OBS or other broadcast applications. Next, under the Window menu, select Input Sources Window. This is where you'll configure your MIDI input and audio input for sound reactive effects. We can create and select MIDI and audio input sources and manage them here. You can see this is a MIDI input that is set to channel 1, and you can choose from the various MIDI inputs in the list. Same with the audio source. And the top menu allows you to add new sources. Now let's go to the Help menu and select Additional Modules Folders. This is where the file structure is important, as Magic needs to know where to look for additional plugins that you may be adding in the future. Click the Add Folder button, go to Documents, VJ Tracks Plugins folder, and click Open. We'll need to click the Restart button for the changes to take effect. Now everything is configured and we're ready to open up the VJ Tracks files in the next video.